Hey folks, I am here today because of a conversation that I had just yesterday with some really smart leaders, and they had the question, some of them that I've heard again and again from leaders, and even found myself asking. And so we're here to talk about this question today. Uh, why won't my people just think for themselves, take some initiative, take some action, stop coming to me with all these questions that they keep asking again and again and again? So that's the issue we're here to talk about. I've got some insights that I think you'll find not only interesting and provocative, but also incredibly useful, so you can begin to get your time and freedom and attention back almost immediately. I'm Aaron Schmuckler. I'm the CEO and co-founder at the Yes Works, where we are working with leaders to help create beautifully aligned teams that communicate and collaborate like it is their job, and to improve leadership and create the kind of environment where people are inspired to do the best work of their lives. And so let's get into it, shall we? Maybe you, like so many leaders, are besieged by interruptions and you are down in the weeds when what you want to be doing is up in the area of strategy and growth. You're trying to scale, you're looking to develop the future of your organization, and you are stuck in the present of your organization by people not taking initiative, coming to you with the same question again and again, coming to you to help them solve the same problems again, things that they should be able to handle, you think, on their own. And maybe you are feeling as if you can't delegate, and you can't delegate because you can't trust the judgment of the people who are working for and with you, because they haven't demonstrated that judgment. It's not that you're a mistrustful person. Maybe they haven't demonstrated the judgment that you need them to have, or worse, maybe they've demonstrated poor judgment in the past. So that's what I'm going to help you with today. Let me offer you a new perspective that right off the bat may start to help ease your frustration and lower the temperature of your displeasure with your team. And that is this: you're frustrated with them for coming to you. And in some ways, that frustration, you're frustrated with exactly what you want from them. What you want from them is efficiency and effectiveness. And so they have learned, and in a moment, I'll tell you exactly how you have taught them. They have learned that you are the easy button so that it's efficient, and you know that it's effective because you have the best answers. You have the best solutions, perhaps. Maybe you don't want to. But for the time being, at least, you are quite effective. And so by coming to you, they are both efficient and effective at getting their work done, getting their questions answered, and getting their problems solved. So you're frustrated with them for doing exactly what you want them to do, which is to do what is effective and efficient to get the work of the company done. So there's there's a brain breaker for you. You're frustrated with them because they're doing exactly what you hope that they would do. So what do I mean by the easy button? I mean, if I were to come to you, and here's what's happened to me, right? My team comes to me and they ask me a question like, "Hey, Aaron, what's 2 + 2?" And I think, what are you asking me for? Right? Like, why are you asking me this question? It's so obvious. And so maybe it's what's obvious to me, and this is the fiction of common sense, is what's obvious to me is not necessarily what's obvious to you. So it's they come to you either because it's not obvious to them, or because they don't want to get it wrong. And they may think, okay, I'm pretty sure it's 4. But they don't want to get it wrong. And so they come to you so that you can help them get it right, or or sometimes so that if the answer that they employ is wrong, then it's your answer and they're not to blame. Now, that is also a piece of this. But let's focus instead on it's not obvious to them and they don't want to get it wrong. So, what I would do is somebody would come to me and say, what's 2 plus 2? And I would think, why are you asking me? And what I would do is I'd just immediately say, it's 4. It's 4, right? Because obviously. And that is very likely what you are doing. And so when I do that, when I say, oh, 2 plus 2 is 4, then I have become the easy button. And we'd like to complain sometimes that people on our teams are lazy, when in fact it is really good for us that people on our teams are lazy. That's how we find the most effective and efficient paths to accomplishing the things that we as a team need to accomplish. And so their brain gets wired that the answer to 2 plus 2, the solution to 2 plus 2 is not 4. That's not the important bit of what they learned. The important bit of what they learned is that the solution to 2 plus 2 is Aaron, right? When I am looking at 2 plus 2, and if I am looking at 2 plus 3, then the solution to 2 plus 3, the easiest solution, the one with the path of least resistance is 2 plus 2, 2 plus 3. The solution is Aaron. And so people come to me, your people go to you to follow the path of least resistance to the solution to their problem or the answer to their question. And in fact, they don't learn that 2 plus 2 is 4 in some very important ways. The brain really focuses on how do I come to this solution rather than what is the answer. And so they learn for the moment. It goes into short-term memory that the answer to 2 plus 2 is 4. The long-term memory, the long-term habit, the long-term behavior reinforcement is the solution to 2 plus 2 is Aaron, or the solution to 2 plus 2 is you. The neurons that fire together wire together. This is a truth, it's the fundamental truth of neuroscience. So when I have a math problem, or when I have a customer service problem, or when I have a shipping problem, the neurons that fire together wire together. The last time I had a problem like this, the solution was leader. And so what I'm going to do next time is leader. And so you get in a few reps and those neurons fire together again and again. That means that they wire together. And there's this thing called myelination. The synapses, those connections, those literal connections of cell to cell, neuron to neuron in the brain get wrapped in a protein called myelin that makes this pathway super fast, super easy, super efficient, just like you want your team to be. They are fast, they are effective, and they are efficient by following this myelin pathway from I have a problem like this, and I go to my manager, I go to my CEO, I go to my leader for the solution, and I have the solution like that. This is all pre-conscious, unconscious, subconscious, and it's very, very efficient. So you are their easy button. Now here's what makes this, that is its own vicious cycle, right? Is they go to you again and they get the answer again, and they go to you again and they get the answer again. And so it becomes a vicious cycle that way. And what makes it an even more challenging and more powerful vicious cycle is that you also are operating an easy button. And I hear this from leaders all the time. I do it myself because it's faster, or I do it myself because it's easier. You are following your own easy button, which is the easiest thing to do when somebody comes to you, even with a question as simple and obvious as what's 2 plus 2. You give them the answer, you help them with the solution directly. That's the easiest thing for you. And so your problem may not be what's 2 plus 2 because that's obvious to you. Your problem is there's somebody in my face asking me questions or asking me to solve a problem. And what I want to do is get back to my work and get back to what I was doing before they came to distract me. So that's your problem. And what's the shortest distance between where you are with somebody in your face asking you questions and getting back to what you want to do? Well, the shortest distance for you and the easiest distance for you is to answer their question. 2 + 2 is 4. Now go. Right, put 4 in or right, call UPS. UPS is our best shipping option for that kind of scenario. You give them the answer, and you have now reinforced the pathway that when somebody is in my face asking me a question or asking me to solve a problem that is super easy and obvious, or even not, it's still like, okay, I have to apply my thinking to this. It's still quicker and easier and more efficient in the short run for you to be the answer man, to be the solution giver, to be the wise woman, right? That is the easiest thing for you to do. And sometimes also really rewarding, because this is a trap for me. We really like to be smart, and we really like for people to think we're smart. And so there is a little bit of a hit of dopamine in there to make that part of the vicious cycle even rewarding for us, even as it may also simultaneously be frustrating. So you can see how this is a kind of a compound, double vicious cycle that really feeds itself. And that's why you can't catch a breath. That's why you're down in the weeds with people dragging you into the weeds. They come to ask you to step into the weeds, and you do step into the weeds and reinforce the likelihood that you're going to be asked to step into the weeds again. So, how do you solve this? Well, if you're not the easy button, then their efficiency seeking brains, and we all have efficiency seeking brains, their efficiency seeking brains, if you suddenly are uphill instead of downhill, then something else is going to be comparatively downhill from you. You think of their trying to get this problem solved as being like water trying to find its way down a mountain. Well, if you become a ridge instead of a valley, well, then you are not going to be their easy button. They're going to find other easy buttons. And our brains, being the magnificent instruments that they are, their own brains can become their easy button. Their own brains can become the most downhill way for this water of solving, this water of question answering to flow. So if we go back to our 2 + 2 question, right? Hey, boss, what's 2 + 2? I have learned to slow myself down. I'm laughing because I have to add to that most of the time. More and more, I have disciplined myself to slow down and say, I do not want to find the quick way through this. I do not want to press my easy button. I want to press my long-term, most effective, most efficient over time button. Takes a little bit of discipline for me, and say, what's 2 + 2? Good question. What do you think it is? Now, if this is a more complex question than 2 + 2, they may say, well, I don't know. And so then I have to slow myself down again and try to think about, well, how can I still not give them the question? I may be able to help narrow their focus or break things down for them a little bit so that they are still doing the mental work to create the myelin sheath, to create those brain pathways, those mind pathways, to go from, this blindness that they have, this right now they don't know how to navigate this territory, to in the future, and often much faster than we think possible, having a wonderful mental map of this so that they can really help themselves. So I might think, how can I help you? instead of just giving you the answer. Well, all right. So what do you think 2 plus 2 is for? What what do you think 2 plus 2 is? Oh, you don't know? Well, here's 2. And if you're just listening to me, I'm holding up 2 fingers on one hand. Here's 2, right? And then here's another 2. And if you're listening, I'm holding up 2 fingers on the other hand at some maybe a foot apart, right? So we've got 2 here and we've got 2 over here. And as I bring my fingers together, then I say, so what do you see? And then they're going to count. They're going to go, well, I see 1, 2, I see a third finger, 4. 2 plus 2 is, it's 4. And so now I have not been an easy button. I've actually been kind of a challenging button. And they have done the work in their heads themselves. And so now, where before they would forget the information and only remember the easy path, which was, in my case, Aaron, in your case, you, the easy path is you. Now, the easy path is actually thought, right? The easy path is doing the mental rep. And so now what we've started to create by the neurons that wire together, is we've started to create this little game trail, this little rabbit trail through the woods, right? They've done it once. And then the next time they come and they're like, okay, well, what's 2 plus 3? Well, we've been here before. It's a little bit different, admittedly, this time. What do you think 2 plus 3 is? And they go, well, I don't know. Well, what was 2 plus 2? Well, 2 plus 2, let's see, 2 plus 2, and then they might hold up their fingers again, right? 2 plus 2 was 4. Excellent. So then what's 2 plus 3? Well, I don't know. Okay, well, here's 2, and I'm holding up my 2 fingers on the one hand, and here's 3. I'm holding up 3 fingers on the other hand. And what have we got? And they go, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 5. Fantastic. And now that little game trail is becoming maybe a walking trail or a biking trail. And soon enough, you're going to have that double track like a fire path through the woods. And the more reps they get, the more they're going to be building this myelinated superhighway in their brain. And pretty soon, they're going to be asking themselves, what's the third derivative of 3x plus 20? And I don't know if that's a real equation, right? But what's the third derivative of 3x plus 20? And they're going to know the solution, not because they know the answer, but because they've now got a super highway for calculation. Now, I'm hoping that you can do the abstraction of this mathematical metaphor that I'm giving you, to what, how do we ship this, given that we missed the shipment today through our own error, and the customer is expecting delivery of this tomorrow, right? How do we solve this? Now you say, well, how do you imagine we might solve it? I don't know. Well, and you might come up with some scenarios, right? If you needed to get this to your grandmother, how would you do it? Hopefully you are seeing the principle here is that step by step, you can become a little bit more of a difficult pathway to the solution, a little bit more difficult, a little bit more difficult, a little bit more difficult. And they do a little bit of work to get there, then a little bit more work to get there, and a little bit more work to get there. And they develop their own judgment that is as good, as experienced, as reinforced, maybe even better than yours over time. And you might just be shocked at how fast this move from being the easy button to being the coach can create transformation in your team. The best leaders are excellent coaches. In other words, they don't step onto the field. They help people review the game tape. They may call some of the plays, ask people to really pay attention in the moment. The coaching here is to be a guide, not the solution themselves. I'm thinking of Gandalf, right? Gandalf comes in The Lord of the Rings and in The Hobbit. only in the most astoundingly terrible of moments, the hobbits have a lot of work to do on their own without the power of Gandalf. Their voyage is largely a, uh, a solitary one as a team without that wise person at the head. A wise person comes in with a little touch here and there. So um, I encourage you to have your people become their own easy buttons. This is a whole skill set. This making the transition from solver to coach, and it's a powerful transition for any leader to make. Of course, it's one just like anything else that can happen stepwise. And come the middle of January, we are going to be launching a workshop for leaders who want to become the coach, who want to stop being the bottleneck. They want to free themselves up to have more bandwidth and more time to focus on the hard stuff, right? It can be easy to be in the weeds because it's pleasant. You know all the answers. The stuff that is really your job to do as a leader is almost always the stuff that's just barely outside your capabilities, just like it is for me. The stuff that is most important for me to do these days is the stuff that just feels just that little bit out of reach. And I sure am tempted to do some of the stuff in the weeds because I know I can do it and I get that dopamine hit. So I encourage you to get out of the weeds. If our workshop on how leaders can become coaches is of interest to you, we haven't opened registration yet. You cannot yet buy your way into this cohort, which, by the way, we're going to cap this at 12 people. There are only going to be 12 people going through this workshop starting in mid-January. January 13th, I think, is the date we're going to launch. You're not out of luck, though, because we do have our wait list open. I will put a link in the comments or in the description, and you can join the wait list so that you will be among the first to know when registration goes live, and you can sign up for this 3-session workshop that we're going to be doing on helping leaders become coaches and become better coaches. You get 4 frameworks for how can I coach my people so that they develop their own capacity and confidence and independence and initiative, all these things that we want our teams to have. This is going to be a really, really powerful workshop, and I can't wait. I can't wait for us to run it, except that I have to wait because that's the plan. My question for you, and I'd love your thoughts in the comments. Who has been instrumental as a coach for you, whether it's been kind of in an official capacity or in some less official capacity? Who's made you do the math instead of doing the math for you in a way that really served your development, your gaining capacity, your gaining confidence so that you could step forward into initiative? Initiative requires confidence. Again, I'm Aaron Schmuckler, and it's an honor to have had your time and attention today. Hope this helps. Bye-bye.